guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have something really cool, or at least I think it's cool, that I want to share with you guys. I do want to apologize. I'm back to being whitewashed again from this window because there's a lot of snow outside and it's just making it very bright. I even tried hanging something over my window and it's still pretty obnoxious, so it is what it is today. So today I wanted to talk to you guys about aura photographs. Now I had gotten this done in 2014, so it is quite old, but I want to share this story with you guys. Even though I had gotten this taken 6, almost 7 years ago, I would say it's probably still pretty accurate, maybe slightly different, but so this story kind of has a lot going into it. I know a lot of people are skeptical about stuff like this, and I can understand that argument, but I'm going to share my experience with you guys, and maybe it'll make you think a little differently about it, or about stuff in that realm anyways. So in 2014, me and a few friends decided to go to the metaphysical shop near me and get our aura photographs done. I think it was like $40 or something like that. And basically it was this guy that would take your aura photograph, discuss with you what was on it and everything, what it meant, and that was supposed to be it. Well, I went last out of the 4 people that were in our group because I had arrived a little late because I believe I was working or something like that. I can't remember quite why I was late, but I was late. So anyways, I show up and one of the girls had already gone. The second one was in the middle of hers, so there was just the one girl ahead of me and then myself, but we were all in the room together. I met the guy who's very nice. I believe his name was Joe. I can't remember his last name, but he does a lot of really cool stuff, and he still works for that same metaphysical shop, so if I do find him his information, I will link it down below. So we all take our turns getting our aura photograph, and the girl right before me gets hers done. And so the other girls I'm with do not know this. Afterwards, I had plans to drive out to my dad's cemetery where he was buried and visit him because I did that as often as I could. I tried to go pretty frequently. My dad had passed 5 years prior, or like 4.5 years prior, and it was a bit of a drive. It was about a 45-minute drive from my house, but I would try to go as much as I could. And I hadn't told them I was gonna go. It was something I had decided like an hour or so before I went to this. I was like, you know what, since we're already out and about, afterwards I'm gonna go do this. Didn't tell anyone I was going to do this, so that's important to this story to know. No one knew I was going where I was going after this. So anyways, I introduced myself to this man. I sit down in this chair. He tells you to put your hand on this little metal hand-shaped thing, and it's supposed to like measure your pulse, your temperature, stuff like that. And then it has a camera pointed at you, and it takes your aura photograph. Now, you're gonna notice in this photo, which I will insert a better picture since my camera is being whited out, but my face is very red in this photo. There is a reason for that. When he was taking the photo, he looked me dead in the eye and he started talking about my dad. Things there was no way he would have known, because there were things I didn't really discuss with anyone, because depending on what is going on in my life, I usually keep a lot of stuff to myself. I don't tell a lot of things that are bothering me to people because I feel like a burden to people if I do. I don't really disclose my feelings unless it's like an outburst because I've kept them in so long. But in general, I keep a lot of stuff to myself. I am usually pretty closed off, unfortunately, which is something I'm trying to work on, but that's a whole nother bag of worms. Unless you're incredibly close to me, you're not gonna ever know like my innermost deep things. I keep those pretty safeguarded, and for good reason. But anyway, so he started talking about my father, and my dad is buried in a military graveyard, or a military cemetery if you will. And he starts off by asking me, I see that your father has served in the military. What branch? And the fact that he had no idea prior that I was going to see my dad after. He didn't know anything about my dad. I had never met this man before in my life. I immediately started crying because it was just the way he asked it, the way he looked at me when he asked this question. And I started crying and I said, I'm sorry, I'm a little emotional. He's like, I see he died of cancer. And then that threw me through a loop because it was like, how would he know that? Like, yes, the friends that I was with did know that about my father, but because that had happened almost 5 years ago, there was no relevancy for them to even bring that up to this man. There was no reason for them to, and I don't see why they would have. I mean, I guess they could have, but I highly doubt it. There's no reason for them to even bring it up. And even them, they all had this look of shock on their face. Like, they couldn't believe what he was saying and asking me. He started talking about what kind of person my dad was, and he was telling me things that were so accurate, like about how old he was. He could tell that he was Native American. He could tell, like, it was just a lot of really crazy stuff that there was no way it could have been a random coincidence or him guessing. Like, and some of the details were details that my friends wouldn't have known, and it was really crazy to me, and I was an emotional mess. So much so that it was hard for me to absorb what was actually even going on with the aura photograph. But eventually I calmed down. He apologized for getting me upset and said that wasn't his intention. He just wanted me to know that my dad was watching me that day and keeping an eye on me. Which, you know, when your father passes away and you're incredibly close to him, of course that's going to get a reaction out of you. So, you know, I calmed down. He apologizes. He went and got me a hot cup of tea. He, you know, had said he was sorry. He was just making that connection and thought it was important to share that with me. So once I calmed down, he went through this aura photograph with me, which I'll explain to you guys, and then what further went on that day. So this is my aura photograph. As you can see, it is a lot of yellow, a little bit of white, and then the colors that are kind of not coming up on camera, there is a bit of orange, like at my crown. What this tells me, and I will read this to you, and like I said, this is all pretty accurate, I would say. I have a golden orange center, which means joy and creativity are what you wish to focus on. Friendship, socializing, having fun, and being yourself are goals most important to you. Make your work and chores a pleasure to strive to enjoy every moment. You have a great sense of humor and laugh easily. Your life is a fun, creative project. I do love to laugh. It is one of my favorite feelings in the world is laughter. My best friend is probably one of the easiest people to get me to laugh. He knows what makes me laugh, and that's why I like being around him so much. Is which a lot of his friends will compare him to a ray of sunshine, and that's why I like being around him, because I enjoy that kind of, you know, happy, fun kind of feeling. So that is extremely accurate. And then it says I have a golden orange left, which says your future is destined to be thought-provoking as well as highly creative. Actively generating energy is building and will soon enter your life. The shade of golden orange is a mixture of active red and an intellectual yellow. In this position, your auric field indicates that a very creative and intellectually stimulating future lies in store for you. Inspired ideas are already unfolding within you, and you will soon have many more opportunities to enjoy the sensual pleasures of life as you wish. Ironically, it's saying that, you know, have to do with a lot of creative energy and stuff like that. At this time, me and one of my friends that went to this same aura photographing thing had just started a event planning company that was mostly centered around us making a lot of things for weddings and parties, which I can insert a couple photos, or maybe I can do a video on that separately if you guys are interested. But yeah, we had a event planning business for a while, and it was around this time frame that it was really like in the thick of it, and we had just booked our largest wedding that we had ever done around this same time. I want to say it was slightly after this, so the fact that this was in here was already like, okay, spot on. Then my white right says you have a healing effect on all those you encounter. White is actually a mixture of all the colors, so it contains qualities of all the colors within it. Although white tends to be highly unstable, like a supernova, it is a color of intense healing. You have the ability to be a spiritual leader. Also, around this time, I was the high priestess of a coven. I have been a practicing pagan for about 20 to 21 years, so I have a lot of experience, and at this time, I had a group of 5 women that I was helping them along their path, and now one of them is actually so far down that path that I'm so proud of her. So if you are watching this, Tammy, I love the way you took it and ran with it, and she is doing amazing things because of it. So I did enjoy being a spiritual leader of some sort. I love teaching in general, so the fact that I could pass whatever knowledge I had on to someone else so that they could grow as a person as well, it was very meaningful to me. So I would say that is pretty accurate as well. Then it says I have a yellow throat. Fun is what you are all about. In order to be content, you need to be excited, inspired, and happy about what you are doing. You communicate a sense of joy and warmth to those around you. You have a good sense of humor, and it is infectious. Always hopeful, you enjoy planning and discussing a bright and prosperous future. I would say for the most part that is fairly accurate. I do tend to be more mild-mannered though, sometimes here and there, but if I am like in a happy mood, I am extremely excitable. I like being around people. I like having fun with my friends. I like laughing, like I said. So, and I love planning parties. I used to do it all the time before COVID was a thing. So I would say that's pretty accurate. And then I have a golden orange heart. It says a golden orange heart usually indicates that what you desire most in life is fun, adventure, spontaneity, and self-expression. You are an original thinker and you must live your life in your terms in order to be content. You are carefree, imaginative, and ready for adventure. You may be inspired and excited about a new creative project or endeavor. Basically happy and optimistic, you feel free to experiment and have fun with new ideas. Again, this was right when our event planning company was really starting to do really well, and a lot of things were happening, a lot of things were changing, and I do seek out adventure. I love to go camping. I love to go on random spontaneous trips all the time. Not so much in 2020, up until now, obviously. But in general, I do have that kind of sense of adventure in my life where I want to go camping as much as I can. I love to go on spontaneous trips with my friends. That is very much who I am as a person. So the fact that this was my Aura Photographs readings was incredibly accurate. And a lot of the other things that they give you on these papers also let you know, what your throat, your heart, your crown, your center, and then it also lets you know how strong each of these couple chakras are. And the strongest chakra out of all of those ones is my heart chakra, and the next strongest is my center. And then it gives you a percentage of your body, mind, and spirit, and which one is strongest. My strongest feature is my mind, and that is 73%. Then the next strongest would be my body, and the weakest was my spirit. Both of those got in the teen percentages, so 14 and 13. Now, even though 73% sounds really amazing for your mind, what you want is a balance. So it would be like 33, 33, 34 is what you would want. You would want all of them to be equally balanced when you align anything like your chakras. So you want your body, mind, and spirit to be equal to one another. So the fact that it's so out of balance, mostly in my mind, is because I have a lot of intellectual tendencies, and that's just a part of who I am. But the important thing that you want to try to do with these is to figure out how to balance them. So what I would have needed to do at the time when I got this done is to work on my body and my spirit. And I'm sure if I went and got this done now, it would be completely different as far as which one's stronger and which one's weaker. And I am considering going and getting it done just because it was quite a thought-provoking experience overall that I want to go get it done again, especially if it's the same man. I would be really curious if he remembers me at all. But yeah, so I thought it was a really fun experience, but it didn't end there. So after I got these readings and he gave me the paperwork for it and everything, he apologized again for making me upset, and I told him it wasn't his fault, So he told me he wanted to buy something out of the shop for me to take with me on my visit to my father's grave today. And that also stopped me dead in my tracks because, like I said, I hadn't told anyone that I was planning on visiting his grave that day. I had decided it shortly before going to this. So I just kind of looked at him. He gave me a smile and he's like, let's go look at the stone. So as we're looking around, and he's like, find one that's, calling to you, or one that you feel like best represents what you want to give your father. And I ended up picking out an opalite. Now an opalite, which, let me see if I've got one out I can show you guys. If I don't have one out I can show you guys. Opalite is mostly like a milky white, but depending on how the light is hitting it, it'll reflect other colors like blue, like a yellowy color, peach a lot of times too, orange and stuff like that. But depending on how the light is hitting it, it's going to depend on what color it looks like. My dad was fond of the color blue, and when we were looking at the stones and I saw this opalite, there was one in the bowl that was like the perfect shape, and the way the light was hitting that one specifically, it was like this really pretty like blue color. So I picked up the opalite and he's like, hold it in your hand, does it feel good? And I was like, yes it does. And he actually paid for that opalite and gave me it and the receipt for it. And he told me he wanted to buy it for me to give to my father as a nod from one serviceman to another, because he had also served in a military branch and wanted to gift him a gift. So he paid for it, he gave me the stone, and I went to my car. I thanked him, of course, and I went to my car And I sat there and I just stared at that stone for I don't know how long, because I just couldn't believe what occurred inside this shop, and the fact that he knew all these crazy things that there's no way he could have known. And I just was like, you know what, there's got to be a way that he knew some of that, like, you know. And I kind of blew it off, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna drive out to the cemetery, I'm gonna take this stone, and I was like, I'll take it to his grave, and you know, just a weird day. So I get most of the way to the cemetery, and probably about a couple minutes before I'm getting ready to pull into the gates of the actual cemetery, a song comes on, which is a cover of a Neil Young song, but the group that was singing it, or the person that was singing it rather, is Red Light King, and the song is Old Man. I don't know if you know that song. I can't obviously play it for copyright reasons, but I'm going to read you a couple of the lyrics, because the fact that this song played as I was pulling into the cemetery was another one of those moments. But here are the lyrics to that song, if you don't know it. He didn't have much, a pair of hard-working hands. Everything that I needed, I got it from the old man. With a 9-second dream, he drove the red light bandit, and the grease on his hands was the way he commanded. And the life that he demanded, it kept us all in a struggle. He ruled with his fist, it kept us all out of trouble. Even though he would leave, he wore his heart on his sleeve, and by the way he walked, he taught me how to believe. Old man, look at my life, take a look, old man, look at my life, because I'm a lot like you. And then it goes on, you know, to talk more about, you know, this guy's old man. which the irony of that was that I'm definitely really close with, well, I was really close with my father, and he influenced me a lot. So I immediately burst into tears because of the fact that that song, out of all the songs that could possibly played as I was pulling into a cemetery, was just the final sign I needed that everything that man said to me that day at the metaphysical shop was spot on, and I never felt so much warmth in my heart than I ever did that day, because I believed what he meant when he said my dad was watching. So I guess that's just the little story time I wanted to share with you guys. I would highly suggest going and getting this done, especially if you can find this man in particular. I know he's from, I believe, New Mexico, and I'm pretty sure he goes state for state. Now, I don't know currently if he's doing that because of everything going on with COVID-19, so I can't say that he is traveling right now from place to place. Again, any information I can find out about him and everything that he's doing, I will try to link below if I can find it. Again, this was, you know, 6, almost 7 years ago. I'll have to look into it. I can even call that metaphysical shop and ask them if they can give me any information. Yeah, if you want to get your aura photograph taken, just be prepared to be emotionally touched in some sort of way, I guess, is the whole point of this video. But I also wanted to explain to you guys that no one has all the answers to life and what is actually going on around us, and you would be surprised on how much interconnectedness there actually is. And the fact that this man knew all these details, you know, it just kind of proves that we don't really know what's out there and what's going on, and it can be a beautiful thing. So I hope you guys enjoyed this story time. It's one of my favorite things, and I have held on to this all this time. This has actually been in my Book of Shadows since the day I got it, but I wanted to show it to you guys, and I will never forget when I got this taken. I will remember that whole situation until the day I die. So I hope you guys are all doing great. Let me know what you thought about the story. Have you ever experienced anything similar, or anything so crazy and profound that it just stuck with you and it's a part of your being? I would really love to hear those stories. Give this video a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel if you have not already. I try to upload every Thursday and every other Monday if I can, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.